morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Measuring the Internet session of the Internet Society Community Week 2021. I'm Susannah Gray, Director Communication, part of the Measuring the Internet project team. Today, we'll be giving a short overview of the Internet Society Pulse platform and the insights available on it. We're also joined by Harold Adjaho, President of the ISOC Benin chapter, and he'll be talking to us about how his chapter campaigned against a planned internet shutdown in his country. We also have Dieudonné Munganga, he's an Internet Society Early Career Fellow, and he's going to be giving an overview of his work on the Measuring Internet Resilience in Africa project. And finally, we have Maria Xynou, Research and Partnerships Director at UNI, who will be explaining how you can take part in a global open source data gathering project on internet censorship. We have a few housekeeping items to make note of before we begin. If you could please show the slide. Thank you. Please engage respectfully and responsibly. Follow us and use the Community Week hashtag on Twitter. Interpretation into French and Spanish is available, but this is the English channel, and if you want to listen in French or Spanish, you will need to exit the room and select your preferred language from the agenda and rejoin. We have a slight technical difficulty today in that we'll have one presentation in French on the English channel, but we will make sure that the interpretation is available in future sessions in English. We also have closed captioning. Please also use the chat for sharing comments and asking questions in English, French, or Spanish. And please format those questions with your first name and country. Finally, this session is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on the platform right here after the event. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague, Matt Ford, who is the Technology Program Manager here at the Internet Society, and he's going to give us a brief overview of the Pulse platform.
Thanks very much, Susannah. I'll just briefly talk about the origins of the Internet Society Pulse platform. There's data and blog posts related to enabling technologies that are key technologies for the future of the internet. Internet shutdowns, where we track internet shutdowns when and where they occur and try and curate an archive of information relating to those events. Today, we are launching our new focus area on internet resilience, which is focused on the internet resilience in Africa, where we've developed quite a sophisticated index of internet resilience, and you can read about that on the site. And we'll also soon be launching a focus area on internet centralization. We couldn't have done any of this without collaboration with key data partners, and the data partners page on the site lists them. And as I say, this is an effort to combine trusted third-party data into a single source of information. You can sign up to our mailing list if you want to keep apprised of new information on Pulse. We send out monthly newsletters there. You can also follow us on Twitter at ISOC_Pulse. And we'll now run a short video that gives you an overview of the Pulse platform before we hear from our speakers today. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Now, internet shutdowns and other artificial internet limitations are becoming increasingly common around the world. As you've already seen, we track internet shutdowns on the Pulse Shutdowns tracker and look at the economic and human impacts of these actions. I'm going to now hand over to Harold Adjaho from the Benin chapter, who's going to talk about his work to stop a planned internet shutdown in his country. Over to you, Harold.
Okay, thank you. My presentation will be French. We share with you the different actions we have put in place to avoid an internet shutdown before, during, and after the presidential election in April 2021. So, thank you. Alors, je vais faire la présentation en français pour vous expliquer un peu les différentes actions que nous avons mises en place avec le chapitre Bénin de l'Internet Society pour éviter une coupure d'Internet ou pour prévenir une coupure d'Internet pendant les élections présidentielles dans notre pays en 2021. Donc, une série d'actions proactives que nous avons eu à mettre en place avec différentes autres organisations pour justement éviter que nous nous retrouvons dans ce clivage. Alors, en premier lieu, nous aurons parlé un peu des différentes, l'historique des coupures d'Internet au Bénin. Donc, nous en avons connu également. Et c'est ça même qui nous a obligés, qui nous a amenés à prendre des mesures, informer, prévenir les internautes, la communauté sur une potentielle coupure d'Internet durant les élections. Ensuite, nous aurons à détailler un peu la situation sociopolitique en 2021. Donc, cette situation qui aurait pu conduire à une coupure d'Internet. Présenter un peu les différentes actions que nous avons eu à mettre en place au sein du chapitre avec d'autres organisations de la communauté de l'Internet. Et finir avec une petite conclusion. Alors, au Bénin, il faut bien le dire, Internet a connu ses balbutiements depuis 1992. Donc, nous sommes aujourd'hui à pratiquement plus de 20 ans, presque 30 ans plutôt d'Internet. Mais lorsque les coupures d'Internet ont commencé à prendre en Afrique, notamment à l'orée des élections, pendant et après des périodes de troubles également, le Bénin n'a pas été épargné. En avril 2019, donc en avril 2019, on était pendant les élections législatives et à partir dès l'aube, on peut avoir l'aube d'ailleurs, nous avons commencé à remarquer un certain nombre de coupures progressives jusqu'à une coupure intégrale qui a duré pratiquement 24 heures. Alors, il y a eu plusieurs actions qui ont été mises en place, il y a eu plusieurs demandes, requêtes qui ont été envoyées pour comprendre ce qui s'est passé, puisque au-delà, le 29 avril déjà, l'Internet était revenu. Donc, les associations de la communauté, d'autres acteurs ont décidé de comprendre un peu ce qui s'est passé. Et parmi les raisons évoquées, on a eu des opérateurs qui avaient eu un encombrement du trafic élevé durant les élections. L'autorité de régulation nous a informé que lui, il a remarqué une défaillance constatée sur la fourniture de l'Internet et qu'il menait une enquête justement pour comprendre ce qui s'est passé. Et de différentes sources également, on a eu comme information que cela a été fait justement pour lutter contre les fake news. Donc, nous avons eu un certain nombre de raisons qui nous ont été données pour expliquer la chose venant des différentes autorités. Alors, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé en 2019 et quelles étaient les conséquences? Comme je l'ai dit, c'était une coupure progressive qui a fini par donner lieu à une coupure intégrale. Donc, pendant pratiquement 21 heures, voire plus, nous avons été coupés complètement d'Internet pendant le scrutin, justement, pour élire les députés qui allaient siéger au niveau de notre Parlement. Donc, cette coupure, les conséquences, il y en avait plusieurs. L'outil cost de NetDocs, que certainement certains parmi nous connaissent très bien, a évalué cette perte à 1,1 million de dollars juste en 21 heures. Donc, selon cost, en fait, nous aurions perdu 1,1 million de dollars. Énorme. Ensuite, cela a impacté environ 1,6 million d'internautes, puisqu'il faut bien le dire, le Bénin, c'est plus de 10 à... Aujourd'hui, nous sommes à plus de 11 millions d'habitants et environ presque 2 millions d'internautes. D'accord? Mais cette coupure aurait impacté 1,6 million d'internautes pendant 21 heures. Donc, il faut bien remarquer que l'impact était énorme. Et nous avons remarqué à la suite de cette coupure une utilisation massive de VPN non sécurisés, puisqu'il y avait un certain climat qui s'était installé, notamment sur d'autres potentielles coupures d'Internet, d'autres censures qui auraient pu suivre. Et c'était des risques de sécurité énormes. Et de plus en plus, également, on remarquait également une perte de confiance au niveau du numérique. Donc, plusieurs personnes commençaient à se demander si cela valait la peine vraiment de faire confiance à ce qui était proposé. Donc, de plus en plus, il y avait des conséquences. Alors, pour éviter cela, on s'était retrouvé dans un nouveau climat, puisque en 2020, nous avons également eu des élections. On devait élire les maires et les conseillers. Et en 2021, on devait élire un nouveau président. Donc, en 2021, la situation sociopolitique était quand même assez impressionnante, puisqu'on allait aux élections présidentielles avec un président qui était déjà le président qui était actuellement en exercice et qui était candidat à sa propre élection. Ensuite, on avait un problème lié à l'absence des partis politiques de l'opposition qui ont été écartés par rapport à une relecture des réformes électorales. Donc, on avait trouvé des manquements justement pour les écarter. Donc, ils se sont retrouvés écartés comme ça. Et cela avait créé un clivage quand même politique assez tendancieux. Et il y avait également des troubles qui étaient repérés dans le nord du pays. Donc, il y avait des émeutes, il y avait des soulèvements, il y avait des tirs. Donc, il y avait énormément de raisons quand même pour expliquer que potentiellement, on aurait pu se retrouver face à une coupure d'Internet. Alors, ce qui s'est passé, c'est que nous, avec d'autres organisations de l'écosystème Internet au Bénin, nous avons réfléchi. On s'est dit, qu'est-ce qu'on fait pour justement, pas forcément pour couper, puisque nous ne sommes que des organisations de la société civile, donc on ne peut pas empêcher une coupure, mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait pour prévenir? Donc, prévenir dans le sens où nous allons mettre en place des actions proactives, justement, pour informer en premier lieu et pour attirer l'attention sur un certain nombre de raisons qui pourraient conduire à une coupure d'Internet. Donc, comment éviter que ces raisons se retrouvent utilisées? Alors, d'abord, avec l'aide de Victor nous donnant justement, nous avons déjà commencé à documenter toutes les raisons potentielles pour que Internet ne soit pas coupé. Pourquoi il ne faut pas couper Internet pendant les élections, avant, pendant et après les élections? Donc, nous avons rédigé un article qui est disponible d'ailleurs sur le site d'Internet Society et sur le site d'Internet de notre chapitre, également sur le site de Pulse. Et nous avons ainsi répertorié un certain nombre de raisons pour éviter que Internet soit coupé et les conséquences liées à une coupure éventuelle d'Internet. Donc, c'était clair, on a documenté, on a fait des recherches justement pour attirer l'attention de tout le monde sur de potentielles conséquences. Personne ne souhaitait ça. Ça, il faut bien le reconnaître. It's okay for slide. Alors, ensuite, ce que nous avons fait, c'est est-ce que vous voyez le slide? Est-ce qu'au niveau du slide, on est au niveau de la lettre ouverte avec la coalition Keep It One? Can you let me? D'accord. Alors, je continue quand même. Ensuite, ce que nous avons fait également, c'est nous sommes approchés de Xynou pour pouvoir rejoindre une lettre ouverte qui était en cours de rédaction avec Xynou au niveau de la coalition Keep It One. Rejoindre cette lettre ouverte pour quand même informer le gouvernement. C'était une lettre ouverte justement adressée aux autorités de notre pays pour informer sur les risques liés à une coupure d'Internet. Donc ça, c'est quelque chose que nous avons eu à faire. Puis, nous sommes allés dans une série d'actions, justement, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, pour informer sur ce qui pourrait se passer lorsque on va se retrouver coupé d'Internet pendant les élections. Allô? Allô, Dieudonné, vous me recevez? Est-ce que vous voyez mes slides? Alors, ensuite, ce que nous avons fait, c'est d'abord, nous avons décidé de prévenir, de sensibiliser. Donc, il y a eu une organisation de l'écosystème, qui est le Forum de la gouvernance de l'Internet, qui avait déjà eu l'initiative de lancer une plateforme pour lutter contre les fake news. Donc, nous avons rejoint cette organisation avec d'autres acteurs également pour former, sensibiliser et outiller, bien sûr, les différents blogueurs sur les fake news, comment faire des activités de fact-checking pour éviter qu'on se retrouve dans un climat où des raisons de propagation des fake news seraient utilisées pour justifier une éventuelle coupure. Puis, nous avons mené une campagne de sensibilisation. Alors, cette campagne, c'était sur les médias sociaux. Nous sommes pour mener une campagne qui a duré 10 jours. Donc, cette campagne a duré 10 jours. On a commencé 11 jours avant les élections. Ce qui veut dire qu'on avait fini cette campagne juste la veille des élections. Donc, c'était une campagne où chaque jour, on diffusait des messages pour sensibiliser, informer, dire non, pas Internet, ça peut être une violation des droits, ça peut conduire à des conséquences économiques, etc. Puis, nous avons organisé une conférence de presse sur les coupures d'Internet. Et nous avons invité des invités, des panélistes quand même qui étaient utilisés notamment sur la question technique, mais également de l'autre côté sur la question juridique. Donc, ça a été une conférence de presse qui a été diffusée en live sur les réseaux sociaux pour toujours informer, toujours dans cette sorte d'idée, conscientiser, attirer l'attention sur les coupures d'Internet. Et ce qui nous a quand même beaucoup facilité la tâche, puisque jusqu'à la veille, on avait un certain nombre d'engouements autour de la campagne, autour de ce que nous étions en train de faire. Il y a plusieurs médias internationaux qui sont intéressés à ce qu'on faisait, qui sont rapprochés de nous pour savoir qu'est-ce qui se passe, comment est-ce que vous voyez l'ensemble, est-ce que vous pensez que vous aurez gain de cause, etc. Et nous, toujours, on exposait quand même nos inquiétudes et jusqu'au jour des élections où nous n'avons pas, bien sûr, été coupés. Ce n'est pas forcément une victoire qu'on pourrait s'arroger, mais c'est une victoire quand même sur un certain nombre de démarches qu'on pourrait mettre en place pour éviter cela. Alors, la dernière action que nous avons eu à faire, c'est que nous avons eu à faire des mesures. Donc, au niveau de notre organisation d'Internet Society, nous avons utilisé la plateforme Pulse justement pour pouvoir regarder en temps réel l'information, l'actualisation des données, voir est-ce que nous, quelque chose nous aurait échappé. Nous avons utilisé la plateforme Yoda pour voir si, au niveau des données, est-ce qu'on n'avait pas une coupure qui avait été déjà peut-être répertoriée dans une région. Et pour finir, on a utilisé des sons Atlas, RIP Atlas, pour faire des mesures en temps réel, pour toujours surveiller le trafic et voir, essayer d'analyser, d'évaluer s'il y a déjà d'éventuelles coupures de censure, etc. Donc, ces actions, ça a été une série d'analyses que nous avons eu à faire en nous basant sur ce qui avait été annoncé dans les coupures d'Internet un peu partout en Afrique et aussi ce que nous avons déjà rencontré dans notre environnement et comme raison éventuellement évoquée justement pour justifier la coupure de 2019. Donc, à la suite de ces analyses que nous avons dit, voilà ce qu'il faut faire pour éliminer les raisons en dehors de la raison d'État ou la raison de sécurité nationale. Ça, c'est les choses pour lesquelles on n'avait pas vraiment droit de pouvoir agir contre, pour justement ne pas nous retrouver sans Internet pendant les scrutins. Alors, ça, c'est juste une série d'actions. Je viens de vous présenter ça. Et ce que nous pouvons quand même dénoter, c'est que l'information apportée, puisqu'on a eu un retour énorme en termes d'impact, beaucoup de retours quand même nous ont été faits, notamment sur cette action qui était quand même très intéressante, parce que cela donne lieu à un cas d'école sur ce qu'on pourrait faire pour justement dans d'autres pays, dans d'autres situations, éviter que d'éventuels Internet shutdowns soient organisés. Donc voilà un peu ce que nous avons eu à faire au niveau de notre pays pour quand même éviter les coupures d'Internet. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harold, for that interesting and inspiring presentation about mobilizing to prevent potential internet shutdown. As I mentioned, our newly launched focus area on Internet Society Pulse is about internet resilience, and it launched today with an initial focus on the Africa region. This focus area is built upon a joint project that we're working on together with Afrinic, the Regional Internet Registry for Africa. The project is called MIRA, Measuring Internet Resilience in Africa. And Internet Society Early Career Fellow Dieudonné Munganga has been involved in this project. And I'll hand over to him now to talk about why measuring internet resilience is so important. Dieudonné, over to you.
Thank you, Mike. Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you for the introduction. So I'm going to talk about internet measurements in general and about the MIRA project, about the resilience of the internet. I'll then finalize sharing about my involvement in the project as a early career fellow. So as we all know, the internet plays a critical role in society today. Situations such as the COVID pandemic has further underlined the importance of reliable internet connectivity for everyone. In Africa, mobile broadband network deployments are growing, whereby 8% of traffic is accessed via mobile devices, but with internet penetration rates that still need improvement. But as more broadband networks get deployed, business operators, policymakers, and end users still need and have the right to access accurate information about the health and infrastructure within their networks and then for the individual reasons. This information is only retrievable through internet measurement in the aim of understanding the true behavior of networks in order to improve their performance. As the scientist Lord Kelvin in 1883 said, I quote, "When you can measure what you're speaking about and can express it in numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot measure it, when you cannot express it in numbers, your knowledge is of major and unsatisfactory kind." So, and that then leads us to the MIRA project. As Mark has introduced, MIRA is a joint, is measuring internet resilience in Africa, which is a joint initiative between Afrinic and the Internet Society, with the goal of evaluating the capability of the country to provide a stable and reliable means of internet connectivity at all times. Essentially, this has been motivated by the fact that in Africa, specifically the low-income countries usually have under-provisioned networks, and lack proper cable infrastructure and redundant internet systems, interconnection system. In addition to that, any low-income countries do not have the capability to thoroughly audit the internet infrastructure, and in many cases, they have not developed or adopted the best practices for building resilient internet infrastructure. So that's why, based on the results for this project, as can be seen on the PASS website, the experts involved in the project basically will provide recommendations in the form of best practices that could help networks or actually countries achieve higher internet resilience. In the previous slide, I mentioned the term internet resilience, but what does that actually mean? From the NIRA team's perspective, we can talk about the internet resilience of the internet. So, we can talk about the resilience of the internet in a network or in a country by looking at 5 key elements. So the first being the availability and stability of the physical infrastructure. So this one includes power stations, undersea or terrestrial fiber, the landing stations, and last mile access networks. The second element is the quality of service of the network from the end user's perspective, and the stability of the network in terms of reachability, throughput, and latency to selected target servers. And the third element is the availability and performance of the domain name system ecosystem, as some commonly referred to the phone book of the internet. So the level at which it's available and how it performs basically also contributes to resilience of the internet in a country or in a region. The fourth element is the availability and efficiency of the local peering fabric, as well as the ability of the country to keep local content local. Last but not least, the fifth element is the resilience of the ISP market. So by this, it refers to the level of interconnection towards specific networks, sometimes referred to as autonomous systems, and actually, more importantly, the affordability of that market. As an Internet Society early career fellow, what motivated me to get involved in this particular project? So I got involved in the NIRA project prior to the call for application of the early career fellowship program. However, before applying to the program, I consulted some of the internet experts I was collaborating with as a way to show my interest and to get to hear what their opinion is about the fellowship, and they basically encouraged me to go for it, and I applied. I'm glad that turned into a success. Also, earlier before that, I had become an active member of the ISOP chapter from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where I'm from, and so that I could potentially contribute to the ISOC's mission. But back to what is my motivation to contribute to NIRA in particular, I would say that the goal of the project goes in line with my personal research interests. As mentioned in my introduction, I'm currently also pursuing my master's degree in computer science at the University of Cape Town, where I focus on network performance measurement in developing regions. That said, I also got motivated by the fact that I wanted to be engaged in an industry-led project while being an academic. So regarding my tasks within the project, most of the in the beginning, I was doing mostly data visualization, cleaning, and wrangling, and then also jumped to the next stage where I started automating manual process involved in the monitoring of the project. So that's pretty much all from me today. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Dieudonné, and thank you for your work on this important project. So the data presented on the Pulse platform comes from multiple trusted data partners. And UNI, the Open Observatory of Network Interference, is one of the data partners providing data for our Internet shutdowns focus area. Maria Xynou, Research and Partnerships Director at UNI, will give us an overview of UNI's work and on how you can become part of one of the largest decentralized citizen-led internet censorship observatories in the world. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Susannah, and thank you, Dieudonné and Harold, for your excellent talks before. And before, Dieudonné talked about the importance of internet measurements. And as part of this very brief presentation, I'm going to discuss how you can actively measure internet censorship. And why internet censorship? Well, I think literally every country in the world has some form of internet censorship. Usually what differs is, what is blocked and how censorship differs from country to country. Practically speaking, in many countries around the world, you may see that major social media platforms such as WhatsApp or Facebook are blocked, often during political events, such as during elections and protests. But also you may see that a number of other platforms, such as the websites of LGBTIQ communities or ethnic and religious minorities, may be blocked as well. So this leaves us with a question of, given that censorship can vary and does vary from country to country and often from network to network, and given that censorship can and does change over time, often in correlation with political events, how can we, the people, have a clear overview and insight into what is blocked, where, when, why, and how? In an attempt to answer this question, 9 years ago, back in 2012, we created the Open Observatory of Network Interference, which is commonly known as UNI. The basic idea behind UNI is that we want to enable everyone to have the ability to independently measure the network that they're connected to and investigate and check whether various forms of internet censorship are on their network. But having us all individually check our networks for censorship is not enough, because that doesn't inform us about, ultimately there's a question of how do we know what is blocked where? And that is why we have created a system by which not only can you run specific tests in order to investigate internet censorship, but also that we collect these test results from all around the world and publish them in real time as open data. And in doing so, our goal is to increase transparency of internet censorship and enable everyone to learn in real time what is blocked around the world. And thanks to our global community from all around the world, we have had the opportunity to collect millions of network measurements from more than 200 countries and territories. And they span all the way from 2012 to today and include a lot of evidence on various forms of internet censorship. So practically, how can you get involved? You can install our app. It's called UniProbe. UniProbe is available for both mobile and desktop platforms. On mobile platforms, you can install it on Android, F-Droid, and iOS. On desktop platforms, you can install it on Windows, Linux, and Mac. And as you can see here from the slide, UniProbe has a variety of different tests, and you can run the test by tapping on the Run button. Specifically, Uniprobe includes tests that fall under the categories that you see here in the slide. You can run tests to check whether and how specific websites are blocked. You can run tests to check whether instant messaging apps are blocked. Specifically, it includes tests for WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and Signal. And we also include tests for checking the accessibility of VPNs, specifically Siphon and RiseUp VPN, and you can also check to see if Tor is blocked. But in addition to these tests, which check for the blocking of websites and apps, you can also run speed and performance tests to check your network speed and also to check video streaming performance. One thing that I would really like to highlight is the importance of automated testing. And basically what this means is that instead of having to remember to manually run tests through the Uniprobe app, you can go to the settings of the Uniprobe app and enable automated testing. This means that Uniprobe will automatically run the tests for you. Depending on the platform, this could be multiple times a day, but in any case, it will ensure daily testing. And daily testing is very important because it enables the global community to have data, which is basically checking networks on an ongoing basis. And so if and when suddenly some services get blocked, hopefully we will be able to detect them through the data contributed from automated testing. Before you install Uniprobe, one important thing to highlight is that running Uniprobe might be potentially risky for some users in high-risk environments. We have extensive documentation which explains what are some of the potential risks on our website. But I think the main things to know are that, first of all, Uniprobe is not a privacy tool in the sense that if someone is actively monitoring your internet activity, such as your government or your ISP, they will know that you are running Uniprobe in the sense that the fact that you're running the software is not in itself hidden. And that is also true for all other software that you're running on your devices. Another thing to keep in mind is that the default testing includes a very broad range of different types of websites, some of which might be quite provocative to test in some countries. So again, we recommend reviewing which websites you will be testing or testing only the websites of your choice. And we'll get into this in a second. And the third thing to know is that by default, your Uniprobe test results will be openly published. And the reason why we do this is so that, again, we can increase transparency of internet censorship and so that researchers and advocates around the world can access this type of data in order to investigate and fight internet censorship. So in order to minimize potential risk, there are various choices you can make. For sure, we recommend speaking to lawyers and experts in your country to receive relevant consultation. But from a practical perspective, you can, for example, limit your testing to the specific tests that you feel comfortable with instead of running all tests. For example, it might be, in some contexts, somewhat safer to run a speed test in comparison to a test which tests a bunch of banned websites. What you can also do is that through the privacy settings of the app, you can disable the automatic publication of your test results. The reason why it's enabled by default is because, as mentioned, this will help the global community. But if you don't feel comfortable in doing so, you can disable this. Another thing that you can do is that you can contribute to the test lists, which are the lists of websites that are tested by Uniprobe. The test lists specifically are hosted by the Citizen Lab, which is a research institute at the University of Toronto, and they publicly host these lists on GitHub, where you can review them. These lists include the websites that are tested by Uniprobe, and there are two types of test lists. On the one hand, there is the global list, which includes internationally relevant websites, such as Facebook.com and Twitter.com, and these websites are tested by all Uniprobe users globally. But it also includes country-specific test lists, which only include websites that are relevant to a specific country. We encourage you to review these lists and to contribute to them, especially since the quality of the data really depends on what is being tested. And we believe that local communities are best positioned to determine what should be tested in their countries. And if you're interested in contributing, please refer to the guide on our website, which is also linked over here. If you would like to refrain from testing the canonical websites in the test list, and if you would like to instead just test the websites that you care about, there are various ways that you can do that. One way of doing that is that through the websites card in the Uniprobe app, if you tap on that card, you will see a Choose Websites button. By tapping on the Choose Websites button, you will see a screen like the one on the left, where you can manually type the website or websites, plural, that you want to test, and just tap Run to test them on the spot. If you are, on the other hand, interested in testing the websites that are in the Citizen Lab test list, but would only want to test the categories of websites that you feel comfortable with, you can enable and disable the categories of websites of your choice through the relevant settings of the app as illustrated in the right screen. So for example, if you only care to test news media websites, you can disable all the other categories and just leave news media enabled. And if you would like to test your own custom list of websites, which is something that researchers we have seen frequently like to do, in this case, you can copy-paste your own list of websites into the UniRun platform, as is illustrated here, that you can access at run.uni.io. All you do is copy-paste your list of websites, click the Generate button, and this will generate a mobile deep link that you can then use with your Uniprobe mobile app to test directly your list of websites. But more importantly, UniRun has been a powerful tool for coordinating censorship testing in a decentralized way around the world. Over the years, our community members frequently use UniRun in order to generate links based on the testing of specific websites that they care about, and they share these links with their communities in various countries around the world in order to do targeted testing, particularly in response to emergent censorship events during protests and elections. All of these test results are, as mentioned, openly published in real time. And one of the places where they're published is UniExplorer. UniExplorer is a web platform that we have built in order to enable the public at large, and specifically human rights defenders and researchers, to more easily navigate through the data, explore the data, and find charts and other things that can be of use. Specifically, what I think is probably currently one of the most powerful features of UniExplorer is the search tool, where through the search tool, you can filter the measurements based on the country and the networks that you care about, and you can also filter the results based on confirmed blocked. In this example here, you can see some of the most recently confirmed blocked websites in Iran, which you can very easily access by just filtering based on Iran and confirmed. And then if you click on each of these rows, you will access the raw measurement data pertaining to each tested website. And the reason why we say confirmed blocked in this case is because the raw measurement data shows that a block page has been served, and therefore that network measurement data can potentially be used as evidence of internet censorship. If you're interested in performing your own analysis, and we definitely encourage you to do so, you can get Uni data from the Uni API, where you can download it in the JSON format. However, please use the Uni API primarily for lightweight queries, because Uni Explorer relies on the API. And so basically, if you do database-heavy queries, there's the risk that Explorer will go down for everyone else. So instead, if you're interested in batch analysis, in that case, we recommend fetching Uni data from the Amazon S3 buckets. And we have a blog post where we explain how you can practically fetch the data. And based on all this data that has been contributed by community members around the world, we regularly publish research reports in collaboration with our partners around the world, where we document various censorship events. We're a small team of 6 people, so we obviously don't have the capacity to report on every single censorship event that is detected through the data. And that is why we encourage you to look at the data, explore it, analyze it, and hopefully produce your own research reports based on the data. And of course, you can also make use of the data to support advocacy efforts in other interesting ways. So that being said, we do hope that you feel inspired to run Uniprobe, contribute measurements, and get involved. These are our contact details. If you'd like to stay in touch with the Uni team, if you have any questions, and if you'd like to interact with the Uni community, please do join us on the Uni Slack channel. And we'll be following up now to share a link through which you can install Uniprobe. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Maria. We've added the link to the Unipro in the chat, so please download it and start contributing if you are able to. And now it's time to close the session. Thank you to everybody who participated and to our speakers, Harold, Dieudonné, and Maria. If we didn't get around to answering your question, or which we didn't because we were quite pressed for time, please email us at pulse@iswap.org and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Also, don't forget to sign up to the Pulse mailing list and to follow us on Twitter. Finally, a big thank you to our event sponsor, Amazon, and to Flex Optics, who has provided interpretation and captioning to you today. Thank you, merci, and gracias. Enjoy the Community Week theme park and have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Susannah. Thank you. Bye, everyone.